Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the Municipal Man of Mystery here. And today we are tackling, taking care of, fixing a very common problem, which is a failed switch in your Beat Buddy pedal. It is true, the switches do fail. It's actually a pretty common thing. And I see a lot of people online wondering, how do I fix this? I don't want to replace the whole pedal. That's very expensive. Can I just replace the switch that is failing? And the good news is it can be done. So stick with me today. I'm going to walk you through the whole process, show you the tools that I used, and I'm going to show you the switch that I found that works. A little bit of housekeeping to start off with. You might notice that I'm approaching 2,000 subscribers here at the channel. I would love it if you would be one of the ones to join the community and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications bell as well and stay up to date with all of the new stuff that's coming down the pipe. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to do a little bit of background here. Let's go into the Wayback Machine a few years ago when we first addressed this issue. Your pedal, your Beat Buddy pedal, may be having this problem. Right, so that's the screen is flipping back and forth and nothing is working properly. It turns out that the common diagnosis is that the switch has failed and it needs to be replaced. The good news is it can be done, and I'm going to walk you through it, so let's get into it. All right, let's take a look at the tape and see how this gets done. So if you don't know, this is what your Beat Buddy looks like. I stripped one down to the chassis. I have an old one that broke, and I just use it for spare parts. And I just wanted you to see what the goal is. We're looking to replace this switch you see in the middle. Now, we don't need to remove everything to get this done. It's a little more simple, but the first thing we need to do is take a Phillips screwdriver and release the backing plate. As you can well imagine, there are 3 screws. This part's pretty intuitive. Once you get the backing plate off, the next thing to do is to take that main circuit board and get it out of the way. We don't need to take it out completely. We just need enough slack to remove it so we can access the switch. The 5 screws that hold it on, I think they're 12 millimeter if you want to use a socket, but they're actually not on there very tightly, so anything that loosens them will allow you to remove it by hand, as you can see. All right, the next thing we're going to do is remove the ribbon connector. I'm using a little spudge tool, which is plastic, to avoid any damage, but a very small screwdriver will work if you do it carefully. We just need to release the lock, and that will allow us to remove the ribbon connector. Okay, and then we're going to release the connector for the switch to the circuit board. Don't pull on the wires. Just try to grab the white part and wiggle it loose. Okay, there's one more screw that's holding on the earphone jack, and that comes off pretty easily. Now that we're at this point, we can manually lever the circuit board out of the chassis. It's a little bit fiddly, but it eventually comes loose, and that just allows us to move it out of the way. As you can see, we don't need to remove the whole thing entirely. The next step is to loosen these 2 Allen screws here. This is where you require a 1.5 millimeter Allen key. But if you're using a typical one, which is hook-shaped, it's hard to get enough torque to loosen it because the Allen key flexes. And if you have one like I have here, which is T-shaped, it gives you enough torque to loosen them. A little bit of WD-40 or something like that will always help. Nonetheless, once you get them loosened, this allows you to remove the bar that holds the cover for the switch. Okay, just push it from one side and then pull the bar out. Remember, it's spring-loaded and the spring will fly everywhere like it did to me, so keep a handle on that. Remember to keep the spring handy. You need that when you put everything back together. Okay, but now we have accessed the switch, and this allows us to remove it. Okay, to remove the switch, we need a 14 millimeter socket, and that will allow you to release the screw, and the switch will fall away. This is what the switch looks like, and as you can see, it's attached to a little circuit board, so we need to remove the circuit board, and that's going to require our soldering kit. So let's get into that. So here I am removing the solder. I'm using a little plunger tool, which creates a little vacuum, which sucks up the little solder bits. It does take a little bit of work to clear out enough of the solder to release the circuit board, but keep at it until it comes away. Then you can use the spudge tool or a little screwdriver to separate the circuit board and the switch. So the solder gave me a little bit of trouble. I ended up using some flux with a copper ribbon, which is a method of extracting the solder. If you have one of those, it helps. Once you get the solder removed, you can separate the circuit board from the switch. A tiny little screwdriver just to leaving them apart helped out, or use the spudge tool if it's flat, that type of thing. Just be careful with it. Try not to damage anything. So now our circuit board is cleared and we've cleaned it up. We're ready to put the new switch into the circuit board and solder them together. Okay, now we can step to the big reveal. Which switch am I using? Well, I found this one here. Let me jump over. Okay, this is the switch you need. Make sure you're getting the correct one. You'll notice that the one I have is imprinted with an M. M is for momentary. That's the one that you want. Don't get a latching one. If it has an L, it won't work. I know because I bought one and I tried it out and just to prove it, and I was correct. So it has to be a momentary DP/DT. That's what you're looking for. 6 points of contact. And I found this one. I wanted to get a local distributor. This company is located in Kitchener, Ontario. I'm going to keep the video evergreen by not releasing all the details, but I'll put the link below if you want to find them. Cost me $10 Canadian. They do ship internationally. The shipping is a lot more than the switch. You might want to get a backup one too, but that's up to you. If you're looking at another distributor, make sure you're getting the correct specs. So you can download the data sheet and follow the specs and make sure you're getting the correct one. Okay, assuming you have the correct switch in hand, you are ready to solder it into place. I am not an expert at this at all. I just used a little bit of flux, and I wanted to make sure that the solder did not bleed between contact points, of course, and tried to keep it as clean as possible. Remember to reattach the wire. And once you get to this point, it's really just working in reverse and putting everything back in order. So we're going to reposition the switch, put the circuit board back in, reconnect the ribbon, lock it into place, reconnect the switch connector to the circuit board, put all the screws back in place as per intuition. I tested it out and it seemed to be working quite normally, so that was good news. And then I just finished it by putting everything back together. Well, thank you for joining everyone today. I hope that solved the problem for you. If you do have questions or comments, put it down below. I get back to everyone. Remember to subscribe and hit the notifications bell, and stay tuned for all of the new stuff coming down the pipe. Thanks again for joining. Take care.